Welcome, race fans, to the Chevrolet Belle Isle Detroit Grand Prix here in Detroit, Michigan, USA for 2018. My name is Doug Damon, and in conjunction with your local community television network, we're proud and honored to bring you this IndyCar Series race, the Duel in Detroit, right here at the Belle Isle Grand Prix track. For those of you that are familiar with Indy racing, you'll know this is the only dual race within the Verizon Indy Series right here in Detroit, Michigan. It's held over the first week of June, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and the Friday before the Saturday race is free to the public. We're here at this particular track, but open wheel racing's no stranger to the Motor City. Beginning back in the 1920s at the Michigan State Fairgrounds, Louis Mayer, Murray Rose, we had several different racers throughout the 1920s and 30s that raced in this area, and we are now seeing the culmination of the years of open wheel racing right here in Detroit. Also new for this year is the new aero kit assembly that will be new in the new 2018 Indy cars. Primarily it's a lighter car, different assembly pieces, but still in the Dallara chassis. This is going to allow the vehicle to come to life a little bit more for the drivers. Does create more work for them on these turns, and we're going to get a chance to go behind the scenes and talk to some of the pit crew people here as well. Also here at the Detroit Belle Isle Park, it is a national or a designated Michigan Department of Natural Resources park. Plenty of activities for the family as well. Good news too, folks. The increase in attendance is up about 15% for this race, and this is the 5th year of the race here on the Belle Isle course. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take you behind the scenes here at the 2018 Chevrolet Detroit Belle Isle race, and so stay with us as we get some of the action with some of the pit crews and show you some of the sights and sounds.
What's the baby's name?
Back here at the Detroit Chevrolet Belle Isle Grand Prix with some nice fans, and that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. You, the fans out there, is what keeps us alive. We have two such young ladies who've traveled all the way from a real famous town here in Michigan, Taylor, Michigan. And you are?
Francesca.
Nice to meet you, Francesca.
I'm Micah.
Nice. It's nice to have you here, Micah. Now, you two ladies, apparently you love racing.
We know so much about it. This is our first time down here, but I think we'll be making a regular appearance.
Wonderful. And you come from the local area here in Detroit, Michigan, a nice downriver community called where?
Taylor. Woohoo, Taylor, Michigan.
And you're graduates of where?
Truman High School. Class of 2011.
Class of 1974. So wherever you go, you're going to find a Truman graduate, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What do you find exciting about this race?
I think just speaking from an economic standpoint, our parents were the generation that were kind of afraid to come to Detroit for things like this. So it's really cool to have seen the revitalization and the different things that have come from this sort of the efforts of the political standings. And I don't know, I love seeing the revitalization and getting to be down here for it.
There's a lot of good news in Detroit, isn't there?
Yeah, I think one of the greatest things that we were able to see today is a female driver.
Yes.
So we got to see a female driver, and we were able to meet her, Catherine. She was awesome. She was so sweet. So we were really fortunate for that.
That's wonderful, and we're seeing a lot more of that, not only in racing, but in our government.
Yeah.
You guys are really taking the lead.
Yes. Hey, we're trying.
We're
putting
doing
our best effort in.
Yes.
Well, great. Keep up the great smiles.
Thank you.
Stay with us here at the Detroit Chevrolet Belle Isle Grand Prix. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen and race fans, to the Detroit Chevrolet Belle Isle Grand Prix. And one of the great things you're going to find out when you come here, the fine young men and women that serve our country are here as well, and with the U.S. Army Color Guard. And we've got with us a gentleman comes all the way from upstate New York, but he's here in Detroit today with the color guard, Mr. Kyle Crane. Kyle, thanks.
Thank you.
You're here representing our great country, and you go out through these special events on behalf of the U.S. Army, portraying the colors of our great nation.
Yes, I do.
And I know you're not so familiar with racing, but it is kind of exciting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Good. How long have you been in the U.S. Army?
A little over 5 years, going on 6.
Well, it sounds like it's serving you well.
It sure is. Thank you.
Good. And we appreciate what you fine young men and women do for our great nation. And thanks for coming to Detroit.
Yep, thank you.
Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chevrolet Detroit Belle Isle Grand Prix and the duel in Detroit. We have Sebastian here in the pit crew, a driver as well here on the track, all the way from Columbia. Thanks, Sebastian, for coming all the way to Detroit.
Thanks for having us. Very excited to be back. I mean, it's been a wonderful weekend so far in the beautiful Belle Isle. It's just Saturday, but as you can see, the sun has come out. Very exciting racing so far.
And as you can tell, it's a real festiva here in Detroit when it comes to our racing.
And that's what I love the most of coming back every year. It's just a matter of getting that good energy from everybody here from Detroit. Everybody gets to see not only beautiful and fast race cars, but everything else that is happening around. That's the beauty of it.
It is. And this is happening all around the world. Good news. And this brings people together. And you got the bravery and the confidence to drive at these speeds. What do you have to do to prepare to drive in a car like this?
Many years of preparation, technically, just going through all the ladders. I started in go-karts and then moved my way up all the way to IndyCar. Now racing with this big prototype, which is a very interesting concept of racing, which is more into the endurance events, the 24 hours of Daytona and such. But all in all, a lot of physical attitude, a lot of physical training, very hot, very long events. And together with my teammate, which we swap every now and then, makes it quite fun to race with.
Well, coming from the beautiful country you do, I'm just surprised young people like yourself found an interest in this sport. Obviously, automobiles are a big part of your culture.
Mm-hmm. You know, in Colombia, it's all about soccer. You know, as you might know, very excited about the World Cup and such. So racing, it's relatively new. We're a small country. But all in all, very proud of representing Colombia and being here, getting this Team Colombia concept in the grounds of the WeatherTech IMSA Sports Cars Championship. And just looking forward to what this 2018 will come with, together with the AFS PR1 Motorsports team.
And the good thing is you're helping with safety. As you guys run these cars and you come up with new innovative concepts or parts, these wind up eventually in our own vehicle.
That's exactly. Racing started as you say in Indianapolis. You know, the first mirror that you see in your car, it was developed in Indianapolis. So little things like that, the traction control that we use in these cars were developed in a Formula One. So everything that we develop here in the racetrack will eventually go into your car for safety, for performance, for efficiency. All in all, racing is where everything starts.
Well, you guys are doing a great job. And thanks for coming to Detroit.
Have fun.
Thank you. And as he says, safety, ladies and gentlemen, that's what this is all about, especially you, the driver out there. So just stay tuned for a few minutes with the message from our Michigan State Police and the dangers of distracted driving.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Un saludo muy grande desde Detroit. Aquí Sebastián Saavedra presente en lo que es Belle Isle. Un abrazo.
Thank you for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen, here at the North American International Auto Show. We came up here to the Michigan State Police display. We have Trooper Shaw. We're all concerned about distracted driving, and so is the state police. So if you get your head out of your app, you just might save your life or the person next to you, right, Mr. Shaw?
Absolutely. That's one of the things that we focused on in November was distracted driving. Now, we all know that April is National Distracted Driving Month, and we'll really hit it again. But we talk to our troopers as they're out on patrol every day to look at distracted driving, because we know this is the number one cause of crashes in the Metro Detroit area, across the state, and probably across the country. Distracted driving leads to many things, either losing your mind and not knowing how fast you're going, traveling too close to the person in front of you because you're too busy looking down at your cell phone. So we want to remind everyone, not only in the state of Michigan, but across the country, to get your head out of your app. That's a campaign that we use to kind of use an educational purpose of it. For us, we use an unmarked car where we put ununiformed troopers in these unmarked cars to go out there and try to find people that are using their cell phone, that are texting, that are eating, switching their radio stations, and then have a marked car pull them over. Sometimes, we just is educational, a verbal warning, hey, this is something that you want to be careful of. But other times, we did give them that ticket.
Sure, they're pretty hefty, I understand. And like you say, it's a lot better than getting somebody killed that you can live with the rest of your life. Consequently, we're seeing a doubling of fatality over the last few years, and this is why you guys are out there being very diligent. About 2,000 people last year in America were killed because of this.
Of distracted driving. In Michigan alone, 2014, we had 14 of our residents who were killed on our roads, and then 28 in 2015. So when the stats come out for 16, we're concerned as we're seeing this doubling of distracted driving deaths go, that's going to get even worse. So it's time for us to kind of get in there. If you got to throw that phone in your trunk, if you got to throw it in the back seat, whatever you got to do to kind of remind yourself. And one of the things that we really want to be careful of is when we talk to a lot of teenagers and kids and people that are learning how to drive, where did you learn, to text and drive and things like that? And their first and only answer is mom and dad.
There you go. Well, it applies to all of us. Folks, make sure you stay safe out there. Put down that little machine where you're driving the big machine. And just, if you would, just stay tuned for 40 seconds. We have a public service announcement in conjunction with the Department of Natural Resources, Michigan State Police, and Michigan Horse Council.
Always pass slow and wide when encountering Michigan equine trail groups on Michigan roadways. The Michigan Horse Council, along with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, maintains over 225 miles of outdoor recreational trails for horse and equine activities. The Michigan State Police reported there were 889 traffic fatalities and 753 cell phone distracted driving crashes this year, a 13% increase from the previous year. Horse and livestock fatalities are on the increase. Please keep these common sense procedures in mind when encountering equine trail signs. Always pass slow and wide. Heed riders' request to slow down. Activate hazard signal lights on your vehicle. And treat every horse as a hazard. This message from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and the Michigan Horse Council.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. We're here in the pit alley of the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix, and we have with us a person that's responsible for helping keep these cars ready for their drivers. Your name is?
My name is John Gentilozzi, and I'm the technical director for 3GT Racing.
Well, thanks, John, for taking the time out. You guys coming all the way to Detroit. This is really doing well for your team out here at the Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's actually, we're pretty local. We're from Lansing, so it's a short drive for us. I get to sleep in my own bed tonight, which is a kind of a pleasant change for most of our races, and we're really happy to be here.
Now, it really takes a lot of teamwork to be able to run automobiles like this with this WeatherTech series that's doing in Detroit. Tell us, our audience, a little bit about this kind of car and what it takes and what type of engine you have and the speeds it can get up to.
Sure. So we're in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, and that championship consists of 3 different classes of cars: the prototypes and the GTD cars, which you have behind us here, and then the GTLM cars are also here. But unfortunately for us and the people of Detroit, the 24 Hours of Le Mans is next weekend, so the GTLM class gets this race off. So you only get 2 of the 3 categories here, and it's endurance sports car racing. So this is actually our shortest race at 100 minutes. Our longest race is the 24 Hours of Daytona, and then normal races for us are about 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Well, it's nice to see the Detroit course is comparing to these other courses around the world here at Belle Isle?
Absolutely. Detroit really has become one of the premier street course events in the country. We see a lot of wonderful places around in Long Beach, California, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, all kinds of great circuits, but it's really nice to come here to Detroit, not only for the circuit, but also the people of Detroit are so knowledgeable about the sport and they're so into cars that you definitely have a different feeling when you come to the Detroit race.
Indeed, and the fans appreciate your hard work out there. Tell us a little bit about the vehicle itself, what type of engine it has, anything unique.
So this is a Lexus RCF GT3, and it actually features the same engine as the road-going Lexus RCF. So we have the same engine block and camshafts, valve train, crankshaft. A lot of the production car is actually built into our race car. We make a little more horsepower than the street car does. We're right around 500, so we've got plenty of power, and we've got 4 really big tires on it, so that helps put that power to the ground. And the fun thing about these cars is there's actually a production body shell buried underneath all that beautiful carbon fiber.
Well, wonderful. You gave us a really great description of everything. Good luck in Le Mans. Take care and stay with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back here in the pit alley of the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix. And just as in your own car, tires are probably the most important thing you'll ever rely on. No different here at the Detroit Grand Prix. We've got Reggie, who's with Continental Tires, an expert in what it takes to keep these tires prepared for a track like this. Thanks, Reg.
No problem. Good to be here.
And now, you've been working hard today because we've had different temperature changes today on the track. All that is quite detailed for you. There's a metric to all this tire business.
Yeah, the pressures are hot pressure for us is everything. So this is the notebook, and this is all the different pressures and things we do. I record the cold pressure here, and then every time it comes in, I run out there. You see me, I take the pressures, write them down, monitor what they are, I make my adjustments, write it, set the next pressure for the cold set that's going on. Maybe we keep running a few times. I keep fine tuning. Here's one of the adjustment calculators.
Now we know this morning when you guys got started, we all had coats on. It was cold. Now here we are sweating. How's that make it difficult for the car and the driver and the traction?
It's obviously the track gets slicker as it gets warmer. It's harder for the driver. It's hotter in the car. I can tell you I changed tire pressures about 2.5 pounds from this morning in warm up to when we did the pit stop in the race. So.
And I'm sure this is the same in Australia, just like it here is in Detroit.
Yeah, we all talk funny down there, but yeah, same deal. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's hot, cold, whatever. It's the same deal.
And you're an instructor in this special field.
Yeah, I run a class sometimes in LA for younger people who are getting into motor racing that do club racing and maybe want to know what we do in pro racing. So I'm just trying to give back a little bit and help some of the younger guys. I actually have one of the kids that I trained who I've really kind of taken under my wing. He's shown aptitude, he's very keen. He's here and he's working with ESM this weekend, and he did a fantastic job. It was his first weekend in pro racing by himself without me being there. Yeah. And well, nobody killed him, so I guess he did good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, folks, if you're out there, you're thinking about a career, Reg is the guy to get a hold of. He'll get you trained, right?
Yeah, I can train you up in the whole logistics, truck driving, tire deal, whatever. Maybe not so much in mechanics, but the rest of it, sure.
How do they get a hold of you?
Look me up on the internet. Just type in my name, Reg Schmeiss, REGSCHMEISS on Google, and you sure as hell are going to find me.
All right, Reg, you keep up the good work.
No problem. Thank you very much.
And thanks for keeping these drivers safe. And stay with us, folks, here at the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix. Welcome back, race fans, here to the Chevrolet Detroit Belle Isle Grand Prix here in beautiful Belle Isle Park, Detroit, Michigan. We hope you've enjoyed some of the sights and sounds of this exciting race that is now taking place here at the Belle Isle Park. Historically, one of the oldest places in America, founded back in the 1600s, Pierre Cadillac literally set foot right on this very island. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, it's you, the people out there, that continue to drive this positive message for the city of Detroit. And racing's still alive here And we've seen all the new technology that the Motor City's putting in to these Indy cars. I think we've all learned a couple things or a thing or two here, and that the safety of you, the driver, is the most important part of this process. That's why these drivers are out there with a lot of bravery, a lot of courage to find out what is the best part for these automobiles. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to say safe driving, don't text and drive. I'm Doug Damon along with our volunteers, and safe motoring. We'll see you next year.